So I got to clean out the dust collector. It's been a few weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and empty this guy. This is a 35-gallon drum. If you wait for it to get all the way to the top, it's real heavy. Plus it's not good because eventually you'll get the dust going into the filter. So it's best if you do it beforehand. You lose track of what's in there, especially with the MDF, ultralight MDF dust or regular MDF dust. I mean, it cakes pretty good. So if it's like a planing, a solid wood board, that's different. It doesn't, it's fluffy, but it's not going to clog the filter or anything. But that fine powdery dust, that's pretty nasty stuff, and that's heavy. Unlike the shavings from a planer, this stuff's real heavy. So I'm going to take off this top, and I have a clear piece of plastic that I put on this thing. I cut a hole out of this opening and sealed it with silicone, and then that allows me to see inside. But the issue is sometimes the static in there builds up, or just the cleaning of the MDF dust, and it basically sticks to this top. So unless you can, get it to come off, it's hard to see inside there sometimes, because it does get pretty tough to lift if it's full. So you just kind of want to take it, lift it up a little bit. Now I have screws back there for the grounding wire. So once you get past that screw, it's kind of you're home free, but you got to get past that screw. And that screw's a little bit bigger. Okay, so you can see this is what you're left with, and this stuff, I mean, this is literally, it's like flour. I mean, look at that. So this is some nasty stuff. You definitely don't want to get this stuff in your lungs. You don't want to breathe it. I mean, if you can help it. So 35-gallon drum. They do make a 45-gallon drum, and I pity the person who has to lift that up. A 45-gallon drum, if this was all the way filled up to 45, this would weigh a lot. Even this, the way this is, if this is filled up, flush, I mean, it's heavy. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and dump this, and wear a dust mask when you dump it, just because the dust tends to shoot up at you. So you got to do it a little kind of slowly, and then, hopefully you can avoid that plume of dust coming at you as you dump it. All right, I got my dust mask on. I even took my watch off because everything gets nasty when you dump these things. So I'm going to go dump this guy. Now I can lift it. This thing, yeah, that's heavy. And look at that. You still got a lot more to go. That is heavy. So I can put it on a dolly. I have these furniture dollies. That's a good way of doing it. Or just slide it. And I tend to just slide it. They slide pretty easily, as you can see. Depending on where you have to go. I do have to cross a few things, so sometimes I just pick it up and deal with it, but that's for sure, it's not an easy task. Alright, I'm going to try to dump this as slowly as possible. See, if I just go ahead and dump this, I'm going to get a massive plume of dust coming at me. See what it does if I dump it. Watch this. And that was just a tiny bit of it left. That's why you don't just dump it at once. All right, so now this thing is nasty when you get these picked up by the trash collectors and they dump it. It's a good idea to have this open so they know that it's dust, because this is a wood chippings, grass clippings, which is, suitable for what I'm dumping. So I have 2 of these. I'll just leave this open so they know to take it a little, a couple more times. Don't just dump it and then flip it back, because the whole street gets covered with dust. So I just kind of leave it open, and they know, by looking at it, they know that there's dust in there. Wood shavings. So anyway, that's it. Just gotta take it back in and set it up. I can get as many of those barrels as I want. Luckily, I only need 2, really. I could probably use 3, but I really only need 2. Now I gotta lift up a little bit. Get that screw back there, and then so as you can see, I have this port here. That's for the suction kit. If you want to, I have it, but I don't use it for the plastic bags to put all the stuff in a plastic bag. All right, make sure that you got this sealed. And that looks really good right there. Nice. And that's it. The next step would be to clean the actual filter itself. And since I'm doing this, I might as well go ahead and clean this guy. So I'm going to blow off with compressed air, and then kind of do this. All right, now I'll use the compressed air. All right, so normally I use this thing right here, and I just put it on, just a regular fitting, and then nice and tight, like that. Well, from that tool haul that I got, I actually got a different one. I might try that. I had a whole bunch of these big extensions, and really, it's pretty cool, right? Because you can be far away, so I can get the end of it, the back of it. Without having to bend over, it seems like a pretty good thing. The only thing is I didn't get this attachment here, so I do have another one like that. So what I'm going to do is take mine, since I already have the fitting on it, take off that fitting. Now I can take off this extension, and now with the extension off that one, I can put it on this one. So that's cool. Now I've got, that's got some pretty good hair, man. That blows really good. It's like it's compressed even more down, condensed, so it gives you more of a, pretty good amount of air coming out of this thing. It just feels like it's more. I'm going to connect the other one. I'm going to see. Yeah, see? It's way more. Isn't that weird? This is like twice the power, which is so weird. See that? Way more blowing power. this thing is blowing the filter. Look at it. Crazy. My compressor going on. I'm actually going to put my earbuds in because this sound is really loud. My compressor keeps going. Yeah, that's a lot of air going at it, but it needs to be done. Definitely. Now I can empty that bottom. This guy right here. When I disconnect it, it will actually drop down, and you'll see there's a bunch of there's dust in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and empty this out. I don't do this every time, but I think that's some in there. Pretty good amount. Yeah. It feels like it's pretty full. Oh yeah. Definitely full. Look at that. Go ahead and get this out of here. Oh, good. Now there's still some in there. But that looks pretty good. Debris. Okay. Put this guy back on. It's kind of hard to get on because you got to get it centered. It's hard to get it centered when you can't see so well. So I just hook it. Once I have it hooked, I can kind of eyeball it. See, this is check dust bin frequently for smoldering materials. Empty bin before leaving shop. If you're dealing with, I guess, metals hanging under certain areas. Okay, I think I got it pretty good. It may not be perfect, but that looks pretty good right there. Okay, so with that on, I can just give this one last spray down at the bottom, you know. The only thing left to do is to just check it for leaks. Hard to do. You kind of have to just flip it on and just see if you can feel any kind of airflow. So I just kind of do that, or see if you can see dust coming out, or if you feel any airflow coming out of these areas. If you notice the drum just lifted up. Alright, this guy feels pretty good. I could take a stick with a little smoke coming off of it, like an incense stick or something, and just test it for sucking in. Because if it was sucking in anywhere near the cyclone area, you'd know there was a leak somewhere. But as of right now, it seems pretty good. So, you know, looks pretty good. Job done. I like to start big projects with these type of items done so that I don't have to worry about it. Because you know, at the very end of those jobs, if you didn't do it, you'd be having to do it, and you know,